They've really done it this time, guys. In the latest developments in the New York hush money trial against former President Donald Trump, his disgraced former lawyer, attorney, not to mention serial perjurer Michael Cohen took the stand, and the cross-examination got off to a fiery and profane start. Now, remember, guys, Michael Cohen, he's a pivotal figure in this trial because he paid porn actor Stormy Daniels $130,000 in the final stretch of the 2016 election campaign. This money was intended to stop Daniels from going public with her story about allegedly having sex with Donald Trump at a celebrity golf event at Lake Tahoe about a decade earlier. Basically, the prosecution is painting Cohen to be their star witness. But what he also is the king of liars. Not to be confused with the king of pop, who's only out to make a buck. And that's coming from no less than George Washington University Law School professor Jonathan Turley. According to Turley, Michael Cohen spent days in court insisting that he used to be a liar, but lied only to help Trump. But if that's really what they're trying to prove with his testimony, then it is probably just the latest lie being told by Michael Cohen under oath. As Jonathan Turley described it, Cohen has lied to Congress, courts, special counsels, the IRS, banks, and virtually every creature that walks or crawls on the face of the earth. In fact, we even have a list of some of the lies, deceptions, and misleading statements that Michael Cohen copped to the witness stand. Examples? Cohen testified that he lied to Congress about the ex-president's role in the aborted project to build a Trump Tower in Moscow to corroborate Trump's public messaging that there was no Russia, Russia, Russia. And Cohen said he opened up a First Republic bank account under false pretenses, describing the LLC account was for a management consulting company rather than labeling it for its true purpose, an account to pay off an adult film star for a non-disclosure agreement. But see, here's the thing, guys. Robert Costello, a lawyer who formerly advised Michael Cohen, claims the ex-Donald Trump attorney said the former president had nothing to do with hush money payments made to pornographic performer Stormy Daniels, and that Cohen took care of the arrangement himself. Yeah, you can't make this stuff up, guys. Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg, he certainly seems like he's grasping at straws here just to kind of pin anything on former President Donald Trump. I mean, I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that the serial perjurer Michael Cohen nearly comprises the prosecution's entire case against former President Donald Trump under a criminal theory that still has many of us baffled. And now, Michael Cohen, he's making his pitch to the jury that they should put this former client in jail for following his own legal advice. As the expert puts it, this would be difficult even for a competent and ethical lawyer. For Cohen, it's utter insanity. We've got all the details for you guys in this video today, so don't miss one single second of it. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So let's first hear from the former federal prosecutor Andrew Cherkasky, who's basically confirmed what we've all been thinking, that Michael Cohen's testimony won't really move the needle in the New York City hush money trial against former President Donald Trump. Here, check this out.
Well, I don't expect his testimony is going to do anything to move the needle towards guilt at all. That's because, like my colleague said, his credibility is so low. If he says the traffic light was green and the issue is whether it was green or red, you can't trust what color the traffic light was. So when he gets up to testify, we expect that what he's going to essentially say is that those business record entries as legal expenses should have been something else. But he was providing legal services. He negotiated the non-disclosure agreement. Within just a couple of months, the invoices came to Donald Trump. They asked for payments for legal expenses. Donald Trump paid legal expenses. The only real interesting issue is that Michael Cohen actually took a plea deal for engaging in illegal conduct. That question of whether his plea deal actually means that Donald Trump violated the law, I think is the most interesting thing here, because it's very well the possibility that Michael Cohen took a plea deal for a crime he couldn't have committed. So there's all sorts of reasons why his testimony, I don't think, is going to land this week, but he's sure to pull headlines for the next couple of days.
Joined by Fox and Friends first to discuss why he believes Cohen is a throwaway witness. Now, that was just one part of Cherkasky's takedown of Cohen. Later in the video, he also called him a throwaway witness. In fact, Donald Trump supporters are already calling for the court to just put Cohen in jail for another 3 years because, according to a lot of people, Cohen is a liar and a fool. Now, just a quick background. We're talking about Michael Cohen today because he's pretty much the key figure in the Manhattan trial against Donald Trump. He paid porn actor Stormy Daniels $130,000 in the final stretch stretch of the 2016 election campaign. And this payment was intended to keep Daniels from going public with her story about having sex with Donald Trump at a celebrity golf event at Lake Tahoe 10 years earlier. Then, Cohen was later reimbursed from Donald Trump's personal account and a related trust. Now, the main question is whether these payments were legitimate payments for legal services, as Donald Trump claims, or if they were misclassified as prosecutors are alleging. Because the prosecutors, led by Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg, they're arguing that the payments were intentionally mislabeled to hide their true purpose, silencing Daniels to help Donald Trump's chances in the election. Now, with all this being said, Donald Trump is facing 34 felony counts of falsifying business records, but he denies all wrongdoing and denies having sex with Daniels. Cross-examination started in the trial already, and let's just say the tone of the cross-examination of Cohen was set from the earliest moments. The lead defense attorney, Todd Blanche, asked Michael Cohen whether he had called him a crying little shit on TikTok. Well, Cohen responded, well, that sounds like something he would say. Todd Blanche went on to paint Michael Cohen as fundamentally unreliable, bringing up how Michael Cohen used to lavish praise on Donald Trump. Now, he wants Trump convicted, plus the anti-Trump merchandise Cohen now sells. Now, at one point, Blanche asked Cohen if he was motivated by fame. Cohen denied it, saying it wasn't fair and that he was motivated by many things. Now, take note how he said he was motivated by many things, because fame could certainly be one of them. I mean, Michael Cohen, being a convicted felon, is not exactly a perfect witness. Now, the prosecution also talked about some of Michael Cohen's unflattering history. I mean, it was kind of hard to hide. Even George Washington University Law School professor Jonathan Turley pointed out how Michael Cohen's testimony proves that he's the king of liars and only out to make a buck. So definitely more on that one later in this video, but hey, just a quick reminder, guys, if you're finding the breakdown of Michael Cohen's role in the Donald Trump hush money trial interesting, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and by subscribing to the channel, you'll stay updated on the latest developments and in-depth analysis on this case and basically everything that's happening in and around America right now. Thanks so much for your support, but let's get back to the issue at hand. So yes, Jonathan Turley, he broke down Michael Cohen's testimony to prove that Cohen is indeed the king of liars and he's only out to make a buck. Now, for starters, prosecution surprised a lot of people by suddenly announcing that it would rest its case against former President Donald Trump with the completion of testimony by Michael Cohen. The problem? Well, the prosecution never clearly stated the crime that it was proving, the elements of the crime, or even why denoting payments related to Stormy Daniels were not properly recorded as legal expenses. In fact, as Jonathan Turley pointed out, the only thing the prosecutors proved was that Michael Cohen was indeed a liar. So Cohen spent his courtroom time insisting that he used to lie only to help Trump. Now, if this is his main argument, it just may be the latest lie that he's told under oath, because I'm not exaggerating when I say that it's been proven that Michael Cohen lied to Congress, courts, special counsels, the IRS, banks, and almost everybody else. For one, his past conviction for business and tax fraud was not to help Donald Trump, but to benefit himself. When he admitted on the stand that he lied during his previous plea agreement, it wasn't to help Trump. He had already turned against the former president back then. Instead, the business and tax fraud was really to serve his own interests. I mean, there's plenty of signs that Michael Cohen is still lying. For instance, take his testimony about his unethical decision to secretly record a phone call with Donald Trump on September 6, 2016. It was a shocking betrayal that most lawyers wouldn't even think about doing, let alone actually do. When prosecutors asked Michael Cohen about it, he bizarrely claimed that he did it to ensure that David Pecker, the former publisher of the National Enquirer, would remain loyal to Donald Trump. No one seriously believes that. It doesn't even make sense. Pecker was already speaking to Trump about the payments and even met with him at the White House. Playing a call with Trump for Pecker would only cause confusion, not pressure. Not to mention, why would Cohen tape the call without telling Trump? It's pretty clear for almost everyone. The obvious motive was to have material to use against Trump if he ever needed some leverage. Now again, it was all for Cohen. Cohen's testimony revealed that he's always acted in his own self-interest, despite presenting his cooperation with prosecutors as a road to Damascus moment. It became clear to the jurors that all roads lead to Cohen and his bank accounts. After claiming he's dedicated his life to holding Trump accountable, he's admitted he repeatedly undermined the prosecution to make money. Cohen ignored the prosecutor's instructions to stop doing public interviews. He even went on to make roughly 24 television appearances and recorded hundreds of podcast episodes, mentioning Donald Trump in nearly every one of them. He shared how he raked in millions from books, including one titled Revenge, and his is selling merchandise like $32 t-shirts featuring Donald Trump in a jumpsuit and coffee mugs with the phrase, "Send him to the big house, not to the White House." He's also pitching a reality TV show called The Fixer, where he promises viewers that he's going to be their fixer. After just a few hours of cross-examination, it was very clear that Michael Cohen is still the same grifter, looking out for himself one Venmo at a time. But still, Michael Cohen continued to reshape reality to suit his narrative. When questioned about his TikTok antics, he claimed his posts were a form of sleep deprivation therapy, saying he was having a difficult time sleeping and he found an out in making videos. I mean, no reasonable prosecutor will rely on Cohen, let alone base their entire case on them, unless your name's DA Alvin Bragg. The prosecutors didn't even try to prove that Donald Trump knew about how these payments were recorded in the ledgers and the business records. They also didn't explain why the labeling of these payments as legal expenses was fraudulent or what the correct description should have been. These details might be required in any other courtroom, but this is New York, this is Judge Juan Merchan, and the defendant is Donald Trump. Robert Costello, an attorney who advised Michael Cohen after Cohen was hit with federal charges back in 2018, he even testified before the House Weaponization Committee on Capitol Hill, saying that Michael Cohen admitted that the former president had nothing to do with the hush money payment made to pornographic performer Stormy Daniels, and that Cohen actually took care of the arrangement himself. But for Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg and his team, it seems to be more about what they can get out of this case despite the law. In that sense, they found a kindred spirit in their star witness. Michael Cohen has finally found a place that values what he calls his particular set of skills on his reality show promo. I mean, like, what other explanation could they have for Cohen nearly compromising the prosecution's entire case against former President Donald Trump under a criminal theory that still has many of us completely baffled? The prosecution said that they're resting their case, but until now, it's still not clear what crime Donald Trump has supposedly tried to conceal by making hush money payments to former porn star Stormy Daniels. But what is clear is that none of the witnesses called in recent weeks had any direct involvement with Donald Trump regarding payments. They had plenty to say about Cohen though, and most of it wasn't good. They painted a picture of an unprofessional, self-proclaimed fix-it man who created a shell corporation to pay off Daniels with his own money, which Trump later reimbursed after the election along with other legal expenses. But Cohen is now trying to convince the jury that the former president or the former client should go to jail for following Cohen's own legal advice. This would be a challenge even for a competent and ethical lawyer. For Cohen though, I don't even know what it is. But I guess Bragg is really just counting on a New York jury to focus on what the defendant is to get a conviction rather than the evidence. That's why Trump supporters are up in arms, saying that all of this money paid to Trump should be refunded and that Bragg and his cohorts should be sued for inflicting unnecessary suffering on Trump. They even said that the New York judge Juan Merchan should be disbarred and removed from the bench for violations of constitutional rights. What do you think, guys? Is this whole hush money case against Donald Trump falling apart? And what about Cohen? I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on him as well as the prosecution's star witness. So yeah, please feel free to drop your comments down below. More on Cohen and this trumped up Trump trial in our next updates. Make sure you don't miss it. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. Thanks for sharing these videos, and I'll see you in the next one.